6:45. This is Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Lal Malavarachi and read by Lavana Vijayatunga. First, we take a look at the headlines. The President says that Sri Lanka hopes to further consolidate and expand the solid partnership with Russia. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is scheduled to visit Sri Lanka next month. A ship carrying 37,500 metric tons of diesel will also arrive in the island today. The number of dengue cases in the country is increasing. In news overseas, Ukraine's president says Ukraine will not respond to provocations. And in sports news, today is the final day of the first Central Asian Beach Volleyball Tournament held in Negombo. Those were the headlines, and now more on to the details of the local news. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa says he wishes to further consolidate and expand the existing solid partnership between Russia and Sri Lanka into a new and more extensive areas of cooperation. He made these remarks while sending in a felicitation message for his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin to mark the 65th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relationships between the two countries. President Rajapaksa stated that the abiding friendship and the vibrant relationship between the two nations are time-tested and mutually rewarding. The President has also extended his best wishes to his Russian counterparts' good health, happiness and personal well-being, and for the continued progress of the bilateral relationships between the two countries. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is scheduled to visit Sri Lanka next month. Indian news sources said that he will arrive in the island from the Palali airport to declare open the cultural centre in Jaffna built under the Indian financial assistance. Then Mr. Modi will visit Colombo to meet the President and the Prime Minister for bilateral talks. A ship carrying 30,500 metric tons of petrol arrived in the port of Colombo. Secretary to the Power and Energy Ministry, K.R. Olga, said that the ship arrived from India carrying the stock of fuel obtained from a supplier in Singapore. She said the letters of credit have been issued for the stock of petrol needed for 30 days. Meanwhile, a ship carrying 37,500 metric tons of diesel will also arrive in the island today. This is the news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. And we continue with more local news. The Health Ministry says that another 1,273 persons have tested positive for COVID-19 yesterday, bringing the total infections registered in the country thus far to 635,606. According to the official figures, 596,891 positive cases have recovered. Following the new cases, the number of virus-infected individuals who are undergoing treatment moved to 22,746. Meanwhile, the death toll stands at 15,969. Minister Dallas Alaperma says that Vijay Kumaratunga rendered a great service to build a new culture through uplifting the national unity while establishing the democracy in the country. The country has lost a patriotic politician as evil elements made him silent. He made these remarks at the 24th commemoration ceremony of Vijay Kumaratunga held yesterday. And to conclude the local news, the headlines once again. The President says that Sri Lanka hopes to further consolidate and expand the solid partnership with Russia. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is scheduled to visit Sri Lanka next month. A ship carrying 37,500 metric tons of diesel will also arrive in the island today. The number of dengue cases in the country is increasing. And that was the local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The main news story for this morning: 4 suspects who were arrested by the Thangalla police in connection with the murder of a constable at the Vidarandani area in Thangalla have been produced before the acting magistrate Thangalla yesterday and remanded till the 4th of next month. There is a woman among the suspects. The magistrate has ordered to direct the 3 of them to an identification parade. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
This is Watchlight.
In In Watch Live this morning, the Dengue Control Unit of the Health Ministry has warned that the number of dengue cases reported in the country is increasing. Speaking to the media, Dr. Indika Veerasinghe, attached to the National Dengue Control Unit, said around 9,539 dengue cases have been reported thus far this year. Most of the cases are from the Western Province. And that came to you in Watch Light.
Coming up, World News.
Headlines of the world news. Ukraine's president says Ukraine will not respond to provocations. G7 foreign ministers hold emergency meeting over Ukraine. Suicide bomb hits Somali restaurant on Pol's Eve. Those are the headlines, and now we move on to the details of the world news. Ukraine's president has said that his nation will not respond to provocations amid deadly escalations in the fighting in the rebel Russian-backed eastern territories. But Volodymyr Zelensky told the world leaders that Ukraine would defend itself against Russian aggression. 2 Ukrainian soldiers were killed on a third day of clashes between Ukraine's military and Russia-backed rebels. US President Joe Biden said that he was convinced that Russia would invade Ukraine, but Moscow has denied this. Amid soaring tensions over Ukraine, an emergency meeting of foreign ministers of the Group of 7 countries started in Munich, Germany yesterday to discuss the situation. The meeting was called by the current G7 chair, Germany, and coincides with the Munich Security Conference, which is being attended by the leaders and ministers from around the world. The foreign ministers are expected to agree to continue diplomatic efforts to bring the situation under control, maintain a united front, and respond with retaliatory sanctions and other measures in the event Russia invades Ukraine. At least 10 people have been killed in a suicide bomb attack in Somalia on the eve of a local election. The blast happened in the central city of Beledweyne at a restaurant popular with politicians and local officials. Reuters news agency says that one of the people killed was a candidate in Somalia's ongoing parliamentary vote, which was supposed to end last December. Al-Shabaab militants have admitted carrying out the attack. And to conclude the world news, the headlines once again. Ukraine's president says Ukraine will not respond to provocations. G7 foreign ministers hold emergency meeting over Ukraine. Suicide bomb hits Somali restaurant on Pol's Eve. And that was the world news.
Development News is brought to you by Let's take all out of the coconut tree and make the island thriving and prosperous. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
In development news, the government is planning to integrate non-motorized transport with Sri Lankan transport system to maximize economic and environmental benefits. A statement from the government read that the current number of active vehicles in Sri Lanka is over 5 million, more than 3 times in the year 2000, as a result in the increase of the importation of private vehicles such as cars, motorcycles and 3-wheelers. The use of non-motorized transport has a positive effect on reducing air pollution as well as on health, air quality, environment, climate change and personal finances. And that came to you in the segment of Development News.
Development News was brought to you by the coconut tree is well grown in almost all the parts of the island. It is an exceptional source of extra income. The shell, the husk and almost all the parts of the coconut tree makes you money, providing you with an excellent extra source of income. It will also help to nourish the economy of the country. You will be guided with all necessary informations regarding the coconut cultivation, with the novel cultivation techniques and all other related and upgraded informations by the Coconut Research Institute, Lunavilla. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928. Sports News is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
Moving on to sports news, today is the final day of the first Central Asian Beach Volleyball Tournament held in Negombo Beach. Sri Lanka Volleyball Federation conducts volleyball and beach volleyball tournaments to celebrate the 75th Independence Day. The closing ceremony will be tonight under the patronage of Sports Minister Namal Rajapaksa. The tournament was held for both men's and women's teams and featured Iran, Uzbekistan, the Maldives, Pakistan and Sri Lanka. The winners will receive the Independence Day trophy and a cash award of $1,500. The first and the second runners-up will receive $1,500 respectively. That is the sports news. Business news coming up.
Cash through NSB globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business news sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
In business news, Colombo Stock Exchange will soon allow listed companies to sell foreign currency denominated shares as long as they have revenues in foreign exchange, according to rules which has been approved by the regulator. The CSE's new move, which was approved last week by the regulator, Securities and Exchanges Commission, will allow Sri Lankan companies seeking to fund foreign currency to raise capital in foreign currencies, as a CSE official said. That is the business news, and economic news follows.
Business news sponsored by
Cash through NSB globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Economic news, courtesy of...
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
And in economic news, Petroleum Minister Udaya Gamampilla said Ceylon Petroleum Corporation has lost 83 billion rupees in the year 2021 and is running a 551 million rupee a day loss in February 2022 amid rising global oil prices and domestic taxes. Each day, the CPC was paying 368 million rupees in taxes as the firm lost 551 million rupees. The CPC has asked for a price hike or a tax reduction as it cannot borrow anymore. That was the economic news and the weather report to conclude.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
The weather report.
And finally, the weather report. Under the influence of the active cloud mass in the east of the island, heavy showers above 100 millimeters can be expected in the eastern and the Ova provinces, and in the Matale and Polonnaruwa districts, the meteorological department has warned. Meanwhile, due to the active cloudiness in the sea areas to the southeast and east of Sri Lanka, heavy showers or thunder showers will occur in the sea areas extending from Trincomalee to Hambantota via Pottuville. The possibility for heavy showers or thunder showers and sudden roughness associated with sudden increase in the speed of wind up to 70 to 80 kilometers per hour in the above given deep and shallow sea areas is also high. The naval and fishing communities are requested to be vigilant in this regard in the above sea areas. And before we conclude this bulletin of news, let's get back to the headlines once again. The President says that Sri Lanka hopes to further consolidate and expand the solid partnership with Russia. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is scheduled to visit Sri Lanka next month. A ship carrying 37,500 metric tons of diesel will also arrive in the island today. The number of dengue cases in the country is increasing. In news overseas, Ukraine's president says Ukraine will not respond to provocations. And in sports news, today is the final day of the first Central Asian Beach Volleyball Tournament held in Negombo. And with that, we conclude this bulletin of news.